Okay. First, tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is AJ Seeley. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Currently, I'm based out of Elizabeth, New Jersey. I've been a voice actor, say about 10 months now. I'm pretty new to this, but prior to that, I did music, I did podcasting, blogging, a little bit of everything just to kind of keep it simple. So I've been an entertainer pretty much from the time I was like 10, 11 years old.
And you said this was your first video game.
Yes.
Nice. So like what inspired you to start voice acting? Were you like a theater kid or
Folks always said that I had the voice for it. I guess you could say I started in the theater, school plays, and things like that. But I would like to say that one of the biggest influences for me to ultimately make the transition into voice acting was a high school counselor by the name of Carlos Mercer. He was very influential for me as a teenager. And when COVID happened, I figured now's as good a time as any to start to make the transition.
did you have like a job where you had to go in person or before COVID?
Well, I still have a day job, but I figured the way that my job is set up now, there is or was plenty of overtime available for folks of the pandemic. My wife in particular was worried about my safety and she wanted me to cut back on it. I still wanted to do different things. So I had a little more time on my hands than usual. So I figured I would use that to start to invest in my voice career.
That's awesome. So would you say this is like your passion?
Entertaining in general is my passion. I've always loved to entertain people. I've always loved to create.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And you definitely do have the voice for it. So I see why people would say that.
Thank you.
um,
Thank you very much.
what was your first voice acting job? Do you remember?
My first voice acting job was for a YouTube channel called Touchdown Time. They asked me to narrate the scripts that they sent to me. As the name suggests, it's an NFL themed YouTube channel.
Hmm.
So, they would have me narrate scripts about the fastest NFL player or the tallest NFL player or players who almost died on the field and things like that. I did that for a few months.
And did you enjoy that, or were you looking for something more like?
Oh, it was definitely good for experience, and I always will treasure those jobs.
I think in any creative field, like the first job you get isn't really one that you want, but you know you have to have it for experience.
Yeah, but like I said, I will always treasure that job. I mean, not just for the experience, but for the experience of working on a team. I've always believed that I work best as part of a group. So
Hmm.
that's one of the reasons why this project appealed to me so much.
And so, like, what was the biggest obstacle, like, in your voice acting career? Was there ever a moment where you were doubting yourself and didn't really want to do it anymore?
The hardest part of pursuing a career, any career, I guess, would be the times when there are no jobs on the horizon.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
finish a gig, or you have finished a gig, a week or 2 weeks prior, and nobody is really getting back to you to try and hire you. So that's always a blow. But
definitely.
if there's anything that's worth having, you keep at it.
Right, of course. And like, I was a freelancer too, just like you. And it's hurtful and it's disheartening when you get rejected so many times over and over again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is there anybody who inspires you, like in entertainment? It doesn't just have to be voice acting; it can be anybody.
Oh, geez. We will literally be here all day if I told you all the voice actors that I look up to.
Hmm.
I'll just name three right off the top of my head: Rob Paulson, Keith David, and Maurice LaMarche.
Okay, and what do they do?
Rob Paulson and Maurice LaMarche are the voices of Pinky and the Brain. Keith David, as far as voice acting, one of his best known roles is Julius Little from the Saints Row series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He voiced the president in Rick and Morty. He also has a lot of live roles to his credit. He's been in the game for a very long time, and he's one of my voice goals.
Okay. So, how about moving on to questions about where the stars brought us? So, how did you find out about this game?
Demetrius basically put an ad out on Upwork, which
Hmm.
is where I live to find my jobs. When he put out the ad, I was just starting out and I was looking for anybody who would hire me. I
Right.
was not picky in the slightest. I applied. He first had me audition for the lead, Rio. So he also had me audition for Rio's father. And finally, he had me audition for one of the villains, Kuroguro. He liked what I tried to bring to the role, and he brought me on.
So, would you say is your favorite character in the game? Is it Kuro or is there somebody else?
Definitely Kuro. There is a lot of arrogance in the character that I can relate to. He's definitely arrogant, greedy. He pretends that nothing bothers him, but he definitely has cold, dangerous side to him that I
Right.
definitely enjoyed having fun with.
Okay, so are you a fan of villains? Or do you prefer villains over protagonists?
I'm flexible. Villains can definitely be more fun, but I definitely would not want to be pigeonholed as the guy who voices all the villains. I definitely don't want to be the Ben Kingsley of voice actors.
And was there, I know that you and the rest of the actors and actresses would record scenes together. Was there a scene that was most difficult to act or that you had the most trouble with?
Definitely the last scene, because I didn't do it with the rest of the cast.
Hmm.
Due to scheduling, I wasn't able to read with the rest of the cast. So it was just me and Demetrius, and I didn't have that energy to work off of like I
Hmm.
usually had up to that point. And definitely Demetrius was able to focus on me more and give me some more in-depth direction instead of
Yeah.
just letting us just go on and play off each other.
Hmm. Would he be reading the lines to you and like pretending like he was the detective or?
Yeah, I believe that's how it went.
Mhm.
He did feed me some lines, and we did go back and forth in that capacity, but it just took a little getting used to.
Yeah, I'm sure, and I think about that sometimes about actors, and like when I'm watching a movie, I think about how difficult that must be to not have everybody present in the room with you. Because I was just watching like the behind the scenes of Lord of the Rings last night,
Mhm, mhm.
and I was looking at how Elijah Wood wasn't even talking to Sam in some of the scenes; he was talking to some helper or something like that, and how difficult that must be to not actually be speaking to the actor.
Right, especially if you've built a rapport with them
Hmm.
prior to that. It's not uncommon for scenes to be filmed out of sequence.
Right.
So I mean, and that was actually one of the advantages of this production, that we did go in order.
Yeah, I'm sure that was better. And so the last scene you shot was the scene where he kills the detective, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we can talk about spoilers here, by the way. It's okay.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so, how did you feel about that scene overall? Were you shocked?
Not really. Not really. Having this hint of all that the character had done prior to this, it
Hmm.
really didn't shock me that, he would do that. My only regret is the exit of the character. I mean, not just because, that's the end of my role, but also I don't know. I kind of expected something a little more epic.
Hmm.
A guy who has done all these terrible things, you kind of want more out of his exit instead of, snap your fingers and off he goes.
Yeah, I understand that. Of course. And actually, one of my questions was if you could change one plot point, which one would you pick? And would that be the one that you'd pick?
Yeah, Kuro's exit. I'm sure there are one or two players who will play this game and want to see this bastard suffer.
Hmm.
And suffer more, rather, because he is such a despicable person.
Yeah, and I was trying to, it was difficult to write his exit, and because he was a villain, but he wasn't the main villain of the story, you know?
Right.
Um,
So, you can't really pour all that hate into him. You kind of
right,
have to save it
exactly.
for the others.
Yeah, and I didn't want to make him seem more important than he really
Right.
was. No offense to
No,
you
no,
at
no.
all.
I none taken, none
Yeah.
taken. I mean, the character isn't but what, 4 chapters tops. I get it,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
believe he comes in the second one. He leaves in the seventh. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's
So,
5
you know,
chapters. So
I'm like I said, I take no offense at all.
right. I mean, you did a wonderful job playing that character, and I definitely wanted him to be a villain who didn't have a side that you could empathize with or understand. Because
Mhm.
Queen Misa is kind of that type where you're like, oh, I don't
Yeah,
know how I
you
feel
get it.
about her, right?
Right.
And so Kuro was not that. He was just a villain, just a straight up villain. He didn't really have anything where you could empathize with him.
That was kind of the thing, you know.
Hmm.
I'm used to villains who are more sympathetic, you know,
Right,
like say Loki from the Marvel movies.
right.
You
He's my
know,
favorite villain of the Marvel movies.
yeah, because he's so complex and there are parts to him that you can empathize with.
Right.
But at the same time you know, to the point where sometimes you forget that he is a villain.
But I was hoping throughout the whole series, like, I want him to be really good. Like, I just want him to be a hero now so he can stick around.
Right.
So, is there a moment, either with that character or with another character, that really resonated with you?
Two moments. And
Okay.
one was with Kuro and the other was with Rio. Definitely when Kuro goes like full villain, you know,
Okay.
that was a chance for me to, well, not really ham it up, but definitely cut a little looser with the
Right.
character.
Hmm.
So, you know, that was a little fun. That was pretty fun to do. The second moment was with Rio. I believe I want to say it was chapter 5 or 6. The scene where, you know, Nam gives her big revelation.
You mean
Yeah,
when she leaves him?
right.
I,
And Jaden gave such a performance. He was incredible in that scene. I mean, to the point where, I mean, we couldn't see each other, but
mhm.
I mean, there were a few wet eyes
Wow.
in that session, mine included.
Damn. I see. I didn't know that because I actually haven't even heard the recordings yet, and I wasn't present for them. So now you're making me really want to hear them.
Yeah, he is an incredible talent. I think Demetrius made absolutely the right call casting him for this role.
Mhm.
You know, I can't sing this guy's praises enough.
So that was a moment. Actually, just yesterday I had an interview with Marielle, who plays Nam,
Hmm.
and she was talking about that moment as well and how much that impacted her and stuff. So I'm really glad that that part, or even my writing at all, can actually resonate with you guys because that's really important to me that the actors actually understand what I'm trying to do.
You know, you did it. You did a great job with writing this, and you know it's been an honor to help bring this whole thing to life.